So you're over 40 years old, 50 years old, maybe 60 plus. You worked your whole life. But will you ever be able to retire comfortably? In this episode, I'll show you the math and strategy needed to turn $25,000 into $280,000 through affordable multifamily properties that can set you on a 7-year path to financial freedom without doing all the work yourself. All right, my friend, you're gonna need a calculator for this one. So let's say you have $25,000 to invest. I get it. You may think $25,000 is a drop in the bucket, especially if you're in New York City, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Miami, Chicago's, the DMVs, Washington, D.C.'s of the world. You might think it might get you nothing. But just because you live in an expensive real estate market doesn't mean you have to invest there, right? Let's say we locate an affordable market in which there's a 5-unit that's appraised for $120,000, in which we negotiate the purchase price down to $100,000. Let's say we pay $5,000 out of pocket to go towards closing and soft cost, property inspection, stuff like that. And let's say we have the remaining $20,000 out of our $25,000 investment to go towards a down payment. So that means you have built-in equity of $120,000 minus $80,000, the loan amount, which gives you $40,000. And let's say you're able to buy one of these 5 units every year for the next 7 years. So that means you'll have 5 times 7 units, equals 35 units. Not accounting for the natural appreciation or forced appreciation of market. But the total appraised value would be $120,000 times 7, the 7 deals for 7 years, $840,000. Not accounting for the debt pay down, just simple numbers here. So your total mortgage owed on all 7 properties, assuming you put a 20% down payment on each, would be $80,000 times 7 would be $560,000. The difference between the two is the equity, which is $840,000 minus $580,000, $280,000. Unfortunately, doing a cash out refinance, the bank will not allow the whole $280,000 to be pulled out since they still want there to be some skin in the game. So they'll allow you to pull out 80% of the equity minus the mortgage balances still owed. Therefore, let's calculate the cash out refinance, assuming you were able to do a blanket mortgage with all of those refinances. Let's do some more math. You take the appraised value of $840,000 times 80%. That's $672,000. Now subtract the current mortgage owed, which is $560,000. This leaves you with a cash out refinance of $112,000, not including closing costs. Now, if you want to exit the 9 to 5 in the next 7 years or less, and let's say that after you refinance, your average cash flow per unit was $200. So that means that after the refinance, you have $112,000 in tax-free money and $200 times 35 units, which is $7,000 per month in cash flow. Do you see how this math that we just did together can be a path towards retiring in the next 7 years or less? The key is making this happen by buying multi-unit properties on repeat. Now let's get into a real deal. This is a live deal that we have here, and let's break down all the important numbers on it.
On the 4-unit, so just on my laptop, so the audio may sound a little bit different, but hopefully you can still hear me fine. Here's an image of the property here. So I'm gonna just do some quick and easy analysis on this real deal. So let's dive into it. This is a 4-unit we found. Just giving you a quick glance. The purchase price that the seller wants is $169,900. We're looking to offer $140 for this property, so we get some built-in equity. The total cash needed to do this deal, meaning the down payment, the closing costs that we incur before closing. These are called soft costs, such as property inspections, forming entities, appraisal, stuff like that. The total cash we're anticipating to contribute to this deal that the mortgage or whatever won't cover, $38,735. Monthly cash flow day 1 of closing, $495. Cash on cash return, 15%. Cash flow per unit, $123 per unit per month. Quick overview. So let's break down some important numbers here. So with this 4-unit, looks like according to the listing, we can receive $2275 at closing. But based upon our front end due diligence, which is a sweet and easy due diligence we do before buying the property, right? We didn't truly dive deep and investigate the numbers and perform feasibility studies. It just basically, all right, we did a 1% rule. We put the numbers in the spreadsheet that we got from the listing. We did some quick online research about what the rents could be. It looks like we can pursue this deal before we dive deep into the real nitty gritty due diligence. And it looks like we can increase the rents to $42.50. All right. So as you can see here in column F, it shows the current performance, and in column G, the added value. All right. So with that being stated, our gross operating income, which is the income minus the vacancy rate, we should expect the gross operating income to be $2,206 a month. But once we increase the rents, $4,122. Now, with that increase in rents, of course, we should increase the expenses. But as long as that change is net positive, then let's go for it. So you see here the expenses. The expenses might increase a little bit in terms of property management, in terms of the maintenance reserve that we have in place. But the monthly expenses in its current state, day one of closing, we're expecting it to be $850. It could be more after we do some thorough due diligence, but from the jump, the front end due diligence, $850. And we're anticipating the rents to increase when we do the rent increases to the expenses to increase to $1,060. Okay. Now, the difference between the GOI, the gross operating income, and the operating expenses is the NOI, which you see here. $16,279 in its current state, but it could increase to a whopping $36,739. So that's huge. All right. So that's the difference between the current state and its added value state. All right. We're assuming we're buying this property in a 10 cap. So we have some formulas here that calculate the property valuation, how it currently stands versus how it'll be once we do those rent increases. And we have our offer price here of $140. So we can buy this property with built-in equity. We also have the loan information to calculate what the cash flow will be, or the loan payment will be, I should say, based upon a 30-year mortgage. This is a 4-unit. We could possibly do an investment mortgage residential. This is 4 units at 8.5. And you might say, whoa, 8.5 is a lot. Hey, our philosophy is this, right? If things change in the market, such as interest rates go up, or it's the seller's market or whatever, we use that to our advantage. We share that with the sellers. Like, hey, if you're in a need to sell position, not, I would like to sell, let me test out the waters. No, you need to sell this property because you're highly motivated. You just got another job offer in California. You can't afford 2 housing payments, or you inherit this property. You're not trying to be a landlord. And isn't, whatever the case may be, if you divorce, sickness, whatever, about to go into foreclosure, you need to sell. We use that to our advantage to negotiate, better terms, better purchase price. So that way we get the property at the numbers that we want it. Okay. So in any market, you can still make the deal work. The thing you have to do as an investor is just adapt. So you see here, our total debt service is $10,334, just annual. So basically the cash flow, which is the income minus the expenses, minus the debt service for the mortgage. We're anticipating the annual income to be $5,944, increase to $26K, almost 4x, once we increase the rents to market rate. So you see here the monthly cash flow is $495. It should increase to $2,200 once we do the rent increases. So that means we boost our return from 15, which is good at closing, to 68%. That's what we like to do. We want the property cash flow at closing, as you see here, but also has some room to force the appreciation, so that way we could really make a good profit on this deal. All right, that's it for the real deal. Let's get back to me again.
Now, I feel like most people that I work with, you're not trying to become a full-time landlord. You want results, not a second job. So what we like to go over is the 3Ds. These are the 3 things we would like you to bring to the table if we happen to work together, right? The first D is documentation, meaning what docs are needed to do a mortgage. Bring that to the table. If you don't have it, that's cool. Just let us know so we can game plan and adapt and adjust if necessary. The second D is the down payment, meaning bring the money to the table that the mortgage doesn't cover. The down payment, the property inspections, appraisals, closing costs, stuff like that. And the third D, which is most important in my opinion, determination. Being a team player, open-minded, having that grit, that level of persistence and tenacity to get the job done. And speaking of getting the job done, this is how we help. We do all the work. We execute. You keep all the ownership unless we do a partnership. We guarantee results or money back. Hey, don't just take my word for it. Listen to what one of our clients had to say, and this is Dwayne buying a 5-unit for $100K flat.
All right, I'm excited. I'm almost ready to close on this property. It's my first commercial property, 5-unit. It wasn't easy. I ran into some road bumps along the way, but support from Juan. You know, I had some brokers that tried to rip me off when I first started, trying to overprice me for units in the area. But from guidance from Juan, you know, I was able to buy this property, now get it under contract with equity. And I'm just excited to move forward and invest in the PA area.
You may think to yourself, I'm just not a math person. I don't have the gift of gab to negotiate great deals. Starting out, I was disorganized. And I used to say to myself, that's just me. And I later realized that that limited belief that I was holding was actually holding me back from growing and getting the most that I want out of life. So I sought help and I minimized a weakness that I had. You can do this too. There's still time. Family and faith are everything. And we don't want you to sacrifice that in the pursuit of real estate investing or let skill sets that you don't have to hold you back. In fact, it's important to partner with or outsource the work that you're not good at or that you don't like, because by doing so, you can focus on the things that you're good at, and this is how growth happens. So let's get into the 1-minute good business found in the good book. Faith without works is dead. This is found in James 2, verse 26. It emphasizes that the true faith should be evident through actions and good works, not just words alone. So if you have faith towards growing your business, then put some action behind it. I'm not saying it has to be towards me or my company or what we have to offer, but do the works that's fitting towards your situation to gain the results you're looking for. If what I'm saying resonates, I invite you to schedule a free discovery call. No pitch, no pressure, just clarity. So click the link in the description wherever it's located, opt in, give us your email, your phone, watch a video 7 minutes or less that details more about who we are and how we can help. As always, to your success, continue to earn passively, live passionately. Peace.